My name is Ortega, and I'm here to present to you about the motorcycle industry and its downfall. Since 2001, the motorcycle industry began rising and hit its peak in 2006, according to this graph from Statista online resource. And this shows that at 2009, after the economic breakdown and during the recession, the motorcycle industry has not come back, or hasn't had a comeback since. It's had slow progress, but nothing into the extreme where it was 10 years ago. The reason for that is because of the new millennial generation. What's going on now is not many millennials are buying new motorcycles, and the few that are, it's still not enough for these motorcycle companies to keep themselves above ground. What motorcycle companies are trying to do now is release new style motorcycles that are appeasing to these newer generations' wants, where for most millennials, this is going to be their first motorcycle and their first time ever riding a motorcycle. So what many motorcycle companies began doing, such as Harley Davidson and Honda, is making smaller type motorcycles with smaller engines that are easier to ride for the first time rider. So, okay. On top of all that, there's new safety equipment and technologies being put into these smaller and easier to ride motorcycles that allow for first-time riders to feel more comfortable and safe when purchasing this motorcycle. Not only is it going to be easy for them to pick it up and learn how to ride on it, but at the same time they're not going to get hurt. And with many mothers, of course, worrying about their son or daughter buying a new motorcycle and riding one, that's always an issue about safety. So the images you're seeing here are different types of riding gear that you would want to have when riding a motorcycle. Obviously, a helmet is a must, especially in California where there is helmet laws. And now the law is not only do you have to be wearing a helmet, but it must be DOT certified, which is the Department of Transportation. It must have a signature sticker on the back of the helmet to ensure that it is a safe helmet to be riding on the streets. And the rest of the gear here you're seeing is anything from a full racing suit to Kevlar pants and a Kevlar jacket, or to a really thick plastic type of boot that helps you, that'll help protect yourself when in a crash or if you drop the bike or in anything of those scenarios. But not only is it the gear that is being improved nowadays to make riding safer, the motorcycles themselves are becoming more safe by adding new technologies with it. What you're seeing here is a basic ABS braking system. What ABS is anti-lock braking system. That's what ABS stands for. And what it does is, in traditional motorcycles without the anti-lock braking system, when you like during an emergency and you're pulling on those brakes and stepping on those brakes as hard as you can to try slowing down, what will happen is that the tires will lock up and cause you to skid, and you have a higher chance of crashing, losing balance, or something, the bike shifting one direction, and you have a higher chance of falling when unexperienced. But what these ABS systems are is it's these systems in the motorcycle that when you pull the lever or when you push down on the lever for the brakes, the brake fluid that's being released into the brake cylinder is all being computed by a computer. What the computer does is realize how much force you're putting on that handle, and it regulates how much braking fluid is being put into the piston and into the cylinder of the brake, so that it applies only so much pressure. Instead of doing just all at once and locking the brake, it actually gives a softer in and out motion to slow you down. And how that works is with this ABS system and with the computer logging all this information and realize, okay, what's going on? Let's see how we can slow this person down safer and faster. And with this ABS system in it, there's way less motorcycle crashes occurring, and makes a rider more safer with the motorcycle having this. And here's a quick video to show what ABS, how it works, and to show actually how I crashed. The reason being I didn't have an ABS system in my motorcycle. So as you see, the person on the left has no ABS, and on the turn the brakes locked up on him and slid underneath, while the person above with ABS was able to control his stop and slow down in a good motion, and the result was no crashing. And on top of all this, when buying a new motorcycle, not only is it the safety, the comfortability, the ability to ride it very easy, all a good factor, but one major factor that a lot of people do take into consideration when buying a new automobile, that being a car, motorcycle, or any type of transportation, is fuel economy. And that's something that some motorcycle companies have realized and have taken importance to. As you're seeing above, there's two motorcycles here. Your traditional 600 Ninja, which is a higher level motorcycle for someone that's more experienced, but at the same time there are smaller style motorcycles like this that are for first time riders. But as you can see, it has a fuel mileage of 45 miles per gallon, and at the starting cost at being at $22,000. For someone that's going to be buying their first motorcycle, that does not seem very appeasing. Way too expensive for someone, and the gas mileage is, yeah, it is great compared to many cars, but compared to a Honda Grom that starts at $3,400 and with a miles per gallon of 125, I think you can see which one many people would prefer. Even though it is a smaller little scooter looking motorcycle, it is something to practice on, to learn on, something cheap, or not cheap, but something more affordable, so that the person's comfortable. If they do drop it, it's not that big a deal. It's small, so you're not falling from a high position, and at the same time it gives you great fuel economy. It's going to get you from point A to point B, maybe not the fastest, but it'll get you there. And to conclude, guys, these are the things that the motorcycle companies are doing. They're making motorcycles safer, there's new safety gear being brought out, and the technologies being put into them are also changing. And on top of all that, the fuel economy is being taken into consideration for the first time rider and buyer.